I'm going to admit something. Something I'm not proud of, but it's something I feel like I need to bring up because I need to reveal it at some point, and it's best to do it now since I trust that I have fostered a safe environment here.
停滞はもう十分だ。オタク、ただ吐き出すだけ。
Okay, fine. I don't like the horror manga genre. Yeah, it's wild. I like a lot of manga across many genres. Every genre has something going for it that I often like, but I have never really liked a horror title, like at least a proper horror title. Not only they're often not scary, I often just see them as gore porn, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, horror is a great excuse to recapitalize on the best part of manga, which is the levels of detail you can only reach with a pen. But they really never just interest me outside of that. It's like not even Junji Ito's works does it for me, because I just treat his works as art books because they're always so visually wonderful. Apart from that, I find them very cliche and just vehicles for unnecessary amounts of gore, or just tell very bland or uninteresting stories. That said, I'm always open to new things, and this title from 2023 that has been being finished translating as of recent has sparked my interest, if those words make sense. I started following it around its 4th chapter on Reddit, and it has recently finished, so I want to talk about it now. Let's talk about VTuber savior, Messiah-chan. So, VTuber savior is by who I would consider to be a prominent manga artist on Twitter, known as Pagreta. I think I mispronounced that. And this isn't exactly my first foray into their works. I have originally seen some Scanlator chapters for Observation Diary of a creature I picked up, which never sparked my interest from what I saw of it on Reddit, so I never kept up with the series. The reason why I showed more interest in VTuber Savior, though, over his other titles, was twofold. The way the setup of the story sets up an interesting set of perspectives, and how they integrated elements from outside of the manga to add to the experience. And if you know anything about me, I like it when things push the boundaries of what's considered conventional. So what's the basic premise that sets up the two things I like about this manga? Well, it's about a NEET who turns to streaming as a Saintess VTuber who has a whole camera set up for her room, and it's just her antics as elements in her room become increasingly paranormal. Also, if you're wondering why she's a VTuber when she's just cosplaying, well, just read the manga, it'll make sense, okay? The streaming gimmick, though, does get me to my first huge adoration point, though, because of how the cameras are effectively all we see for the entire manga, except for when it's breaking kayfabe for flashbacks. Like, if you want to see outside of the cameras, Massage-sama herself needs to use in-universe tools like drawings to display what's happening, or we hear it off-screen because of the mic picking it up. Or, and this is the other part I really like, the mangaka themselves will just straight up use real-life Twitter, which is where I really fell in love with this title. Like, don't worry about the camera setup. We'll get back to that once I'm done here. It's just like, right now, the main reason why I actually love this manga, aside from the camera thing and the perspectives, is how it uses the platform it was being published on, which is Twitter or X or whatever you want to fucking call it, to have, well, AR elements. AR being augmented reality. You see these stream comments? If the person who took the effort scanning this is to be believed, these are real comments from readers on Twitter. And it doesn't stop there. Like, there was a hashtag for fan art that was used to set up the appearance of another character, Crow, who spends most of the series sending super chats or tweeting on his own profile under that hashtag. And this other hashtag as well. But it doesn't matter. The thing is, though, is like, how do I put this? I really found that interesting. Like, really interesting. And we don't only just stop at Twitter. There's also, like, videos you can go watch which catches some of the other paranormal elements of this series. But I think my favorite integration of the AR stuff is using GIFs to animate the jump scares in the manga. That's right, animated GIFs for all 2 jump scares, which is pretty mild, but I appreciate the effort. I feel like that VTuber Savior took advantage of the platform it was published on, to make the narrative feel more involving compared to other titles, and is the reason why I stuck with it, even after I felt like it slumped pretty fast around the halfway point, but we'll get to that soon. I just want to go back to the cameras right now. So we basically experienced the whole story through so many different camera angles. I'm actually going to put up the page that lists all the different cameras Messiah-chan seems to have set up in her room. And these give us different perspectives when we need it, and it frequently swaps between these 3 I say 3, it's 15 cameras, I believe. And it's not just to make the whole one-person show less tedious. You see, the big factor of this horror manga is the fact that a lot of it is the subtle, spooky kind of horror. This isn't like a Friday the 13th. This is more of a paranormal activity. Although, considering what we're dealing with, it would be more accurate to say The Exorcist. Like, a lot of the horror elements until its climax point is subtle, with the only major one that's brought to focus is Candle in chapter 9 and the poster in chapter 15. I kind of like the fact that the horror does take a backseat to Messiah's antics, so it can slowly build up to the climax. And I wouldn't say I was disengaged during that, because, well, Messiah is fun to watch. She is very much the definition of the extroverted streamer who does anything and everything to be popular and be liked by Twitch chat. But the manga also makes her a clumsy fucking idiot who's a little out of their depth, which makes it even more fun. For me, personally, I don't know, I kind of like the fact that she kind of is a goofy little fail girl. Shit, I can't believe I said that. Even when it starts to unravel towards the end, I still very much enjoyed her presence and found her far more enjoyable than the previous work's antagonists. Even if you don't want to pay attention to Messiah, there are small hauntings you can keep an eye out for to keep yourself entertained. Okay, there's a fucking helicopter outside, but I'm not stopping my recording. I'm not restarting this recording. Fuck him. Okay? So, anyway, side tangent before I move on to my problems with this work in between. Just in between me writing that second paragraph and finishing this part here, which has been 3 weeks. I know, I'm a bit lazy of a writer, shut up. I actually read the entirety of Observation Diary of a Creature I Picked Up. And trust me, this is a really relevant tangent, unlike usually, because it's a criticism I share with both that work and this work. Observation Diary starts interesting with the perspective of a daily diary, but I don't like the protagonist at all. What kept me hooked was the mystery of the creature, and then it gained my interest with the escalation of the mystery, with it climaxing with the brutal murder of said creature. But then it loses steam so fast afterwards as it speeds its way to a happy ending, which felt just really forced. It's like we have this potential of a time-traveling paradox, and the solution to the paradox is get cured. Oh, okay, right. We could have done so much more of that. But the problem is, though, to link it back to the topic on hand, Messiah-chan does the same thing, sadly. So, Messiah-chan peaks at chapter 25, because that's when the mask is taken off and we get the best scale of the comic. Problem is that after Messiah learns of the demon, the spookiness does continue, but it never reaches the same level as chapter 25. The backstory inserted as filler for both Messiah and Co were nice touches to the characters as well, but I can't help but feel like we peaked with this, and then we kind of just hand-wave the solution at the end. Like, spoilers by the way, I'll timestamp so you can skip ahead. But Crow shows up, gets possessed by the demon, then before stabbing himself and letting Messiah flee. But then it ends with the demon doing his favorite headspin trick again. Then Messiah spends the last few chapters just explaining what happened after she fled with frankly very cute drawings. I like that. And it's just, well, it's just what I dislike about this ending is that the last we see of Crow is him dying on the floor of the fake house in possible hell, possessed by the demon, and then next thing we know, he's apparently alive and unpossessed in a hospital. Apparently in a different setting, world as well, apparently, who knows. It's very anticlimactic and very unsatisfying. You know, the demon is still alive, by the way, if you solve this cipher, and is keen to go after Crow, so we'll see if that pays off, but yeah, it's very much a forced happy ending, because I think I would like it more if Crow just died here, like, kind of undermines the self-sacrifice and sours the already kind of sour happy ending. It just feels sloppy, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah, that's the best way to put it, it feels sloppy. Yeah, I'm just gonna move on from there. But, despite what I have said, would I still recommend this title? Well, I think for the sheer novelty of the AR elements and its main character, who I love dearly, I think it's worth checking out. Yeah, its ending is disappointing, and it does peak halfway through its run, but it's sure enough to justify an hour of your time, in my opinion. So, just go read it. Fuck it. Experience this manga. Even if you don't end up liking it, I think the effort behind it is more than worth the read. And I greatly respect what the creators strive to achieve, even if the story suffers from the same faults as Observation Diary. That said, I think it's important to give credit to the Scanlator as well. So thank you, Nosebleed, of the best name I ever fucking seen for a scanlation group. Galactic Rolling Dynamite Pancake. I genuinely like that name, and I wish the like scanlation name I came up with was as clever as that. So anyway, in lieu of my usual irrelevant tangents I have in the descriptions, there will be links to Nosebleed's Ko-Fi and Discord, and I would suggest donating just for their work on this manga alone, which I did as well, by the way. If you happen to see this, by the way, Nosebleed, I would like to say thank you again for scanlating and for documenting and then preserving the AR elements of this story, even going as far as solving the ciphers. Like, please continue your amazing work. As for the rest of the minuscule, the rest of my minuscule viewing audience, I would just like to point out that I have started using the description for Q&As. We started with the third 139 ratio video, and as of right now, the Vampire video and the BRC comic video has a Q&A section, but I do plan to only do these sort of things purely for manga reviews now on. I already know that what I want to talk about in this video specifically for that Q&A, so go for you to check it out in the description down below. I love having reasons to talk about things, and I hope you enjoy reading my thoughts on when I want to talk about things. Okay? With that said, I'm going to go back to my commitment of editing a VOD for a VTuber I like before I start working on a slightly bigger project I want to do before I commit to my other big projects. So I'll see you for that.